Analysts back calls for Mahmood Yakubu's suspension and probe. And that is it. So a lot of people have seen that what Mahmood Yakubu did was actually complete violation of the Electoral Act and the INEC guidelines in this just concluded presidential election. That is the truth. And since then, people have been calling for the annulment of the election and for a fresh election to be conducted. And at the same time, Mahmood Yakubu should be arrested and probed. And people have been crying, even though the APC government have not done anything because Mahmood Yakubu is working for them. But again, more people are still calling for his arrest, suspension, and probing. Okay. Right here in Lagos, calls for the suspension or outright sack and probe of the chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mahmood Yakubu, have received support from analysts who spoke with Sunday Independent on the matter. The analysts noted that so many controversies have arisen as a result of the conduct of 2023 election for failing to meet the guidelines of the electoral body itself and the Electoral Act. They argued that it would be necessary for an independent probe of the allegations that have been made against the head of the INEC. Yes, for a sane society, that's how it should be. This is as about 70 civil society organizations, CSOs, have come together to demand that Professor Yakubu be sacked to save the nation's electoral system and sanitize the country's fledgling democracy. Now, one of such analysts, Dr. Kanayo Success Uchime, who spoke to Sunday Independent, maintained that the recent call by the CSOs for Yakubu sack is a welcome development if indeed he is found to have had hand in the alleged manipulations. It should be recalled that INEC boss came under fire when he announced the result of the 2023 presidential election amid protests instead of acceding to the cause of the People's Democratic Party and Labour Party and other opposition parties for a review within 7 days as provided by the Electoral Act. A cross-section of Nigerians had been wondering why the BVA system worked for National Assembly election across the country but failed to upload results of the presidential election in real time as the INEC had promised. Because they did something, they know what they did. Yakubu, it would also be recalled, announced the All Progressive Congress APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu as the president-elect, while PDP's Atiku Abubakar and Labour Party's Peter Obi were named as having come second and third, respectively, in the election. Both Atiku and Obi are already at the Presidential Election Tribunal challenging Yakubu's announcement of Tinubu as the winner of the election. That is it. Uchime stated, in fact, in a normal society, the INEC chairman, Professor Yakubu Mahmood, is not supposed to be walking freely in the street of Nigeria. He should be hiding his face in shame by now for organizing the worst election in the history of Nigeria. The INEC chairman should not just be sacked, he should be arrested and charged to court. He should also apologize to Nigerians. Failure to that, he should be regarded as the great enemy of the country. In actual fact, if anything happens to our democracy, Professor Mahmood Yakubu should be held responsible for it. He has done a great and terrible disservice to this great country, Nigeria. He has brought shame and disgrace to the country. Nigeria has no single worth again in the midst of the international community, just because of the alleged nefarious act of the man in question. He is trying to leave a legacy of corruption and illegality to the future generation of Nigerians, which should be resisted by all means. Contributing a social and political activist, Comrade Kunle Wiseman Ajayi, stated that the sack of INEC chairman, if accepted, may be a correct and right signal. Comrade Ajayi, former chairman of the African Action Congress in Lagos State, and member of the party's National Working Committee, stressed, but the deed has been done. Mass action would have been held to prevent the impunity in the first place? Who is sure about who will take over? The approach of my party, the African Action Congress, is to always prevent the prevalence of impunity. If we had the momentum, we are sure INEC dared not tamper with the result, as we would have occupied all INEC offices nationwide and the right thing would have been done. So that is what AAC Lagos State Chapter Chairman is saying. So the fact here remains that there is a growing call for Mahmood Yakubu to be arrested, suspended, probed, and then to correct the evil that he has done to Nigerian democracy. And that is actually a welcome call. Over 70 CSOs have come together calling for the arrest of Mahmood Yakubu and probing him because he has done a very great disservice to Nigerian democracy. If Nigeria is a sane country where law works, where the judiciary works, where the system works, someone like Mahmood Yakubu shouldn't be walking freely on the streets of Abuja. And why he's the greatest suspect was because the same BVS they said is faulty or that the server went down actually posted in real time the votes of the National Assembly, both House of Rep and Senate, but did not post that of presidential votes from the from the polling unit to the INEC server. Okay, that is to tell you that there's something special that they did, okay, at that INEC portal, and it was done by Mahmood Yakubu, and he cannot deny not knowing what was done. Okay, but then he is working freely because he's working for APC, and APC is protecting him, and that is very, 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 very bad. Okay, we've got a few comments here. Somebody is saying that the calls for the removal of INEC chairman is the most irresponsible demand ever made by any group of individuals. The present chairman introduced new tools into our electoral process that we can result within 48 hours. It was introduced. So the question is, he introduced this. What value did it add to the system? Stop talking like a foolish person. That is it. He introduced new technology. What value did it add to the system? Why did he not use what he introduced? Okay, so let's stop being myopic here. That is the truth. Let's stop being myopic. He introduced a system, a digital system. He failed to use it. He subverted the system he introduced. He as sacred as Electoral Act, he violated it. He violated INEC guidelines. So what have you to say? That is being myopic, and it's not accepted. Somebody should stop calling him professor because he doesn't want it, and that is true. Professor Mahmood Yakubu sold Nigerians' dream and mandate. He must resign, and that is true. Good move. Arrested immediately. Should be arrested immediately, and that is it. That is what Nigerians want. What is the need of being a professor if that is what it takes? Okay, it's now clear that the problem of Nigeria are majorly caused by those who call themselves professors because they were the returning officers in all elections held. So shameful, and that is true. They use professors as returning officers for all the elections. Meanwhile, so the professors are a problem. Even the vice president is a professor, and we're not getting any result from being a professor. So let's forget about all those nonsense idea of say professor, my food. They're not adding value to the system. They are employed into the political system because they are professors, and they hope that they will maintain sanctity of the system. But they are not. They sold their conscience for money. Okay? The big question is, who will arrest him? Those he is working for. They won't arrest him now. Jail him now. You understand? The APC will not arrest him. Okay? If not, our political leaders are fantastically corrupt. INEC chairman should have been jailed since February, and that is true. Professor Mahmood Yakubu has compromised. He should be arrested and be prosecuted because this is the worst election ever in Nigerian history. Everybody is aware of that, and everybody is just saying the same thing. Okay, Mahmood Yakubu has failed Nigerians, and there's still that growing call for him to be arrested, and I think he will not go through with this. One day, he will be arrested for this. Thank you for listening. Let's have your comment.